Scene 4 Alpha, take 3, soft sticks, marker.
And with that, welcome back to another episode of IndieFilm Insider Podcasts, episode something, almost 10, something like that. I'm Owen Carr, a DP and producer here with
Jake Rossbell, a writer and director.
And today we're going to be talking we kind of clickbaited you. This is an incomplete guide to slating.
Only a small slice.
Yeah, only a small slice of the magical world.
The magical pie of slating.
Sure, yeah. The reason we call it an incomplete guide is because, just a quick disclaimer, we are not industry professionals. There is probably some stuff that we missed in terms of how to slate. This is just from slating for 4 projects now?
Yeah.
4 projects. Yeah, so this is just the way that we found that works the best for us and also isn't the most cumbersome and is pretty easy to remember and keep track of for anyone in your crew. So let's just quickly start it off. What is a slate and why would you want to use one?
So a slate is this thing right here. It's also called a clapperboard, but you tend to call it a slate on a film set. If you call it a clapperboard, people will want to clap you up if you call it that. So don't call it a clapperboard. But essentially, a clapperboard is used, or a slate is used to essentially do many things at once. One of the main things it does, though, and the most famous feature of it, is this feature right here. Hopefully, I don't fucking blow out the microphone, but that.
Destroyed.
So that right there is going to create a loud audio spike, and I'll show the fucking waveform things just to give a visual, but essentially that's going to cause a loud spike in the waveform of the audio, and it gives you a visual cue as to when this is being clapped, and so essentially you can use those two to sync audio with your video, and so it's been used for pretty much ever, and it's obviously an iconic symbol of film. I mean, if you talk about film to anyone, they're gonna know what this is, but they might not know what it does. So that's one of the many things it does. It also can signify what scene you're on, what take you're on, what shot you're on as well.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of info about the project and whatnot. So it does a lot of things at once. I've also heard people talk about how this could be used as color reference and stuff. And on a more advanced version, which we'll go into in a little bit, it gives you a lot more information as well.
Yeah, so let's real quick. Give me that.
Yes, I will hand it to you.
Perfect. Yeah, so let's quickly go over for the people watching on YouTube. This will be really easy, but for Spotify, I don't know. We'll figure something out. Let's gonna go over what each box on the slate. They're all pretty kind of self-explanatory, but we're gonna quickly just go over what each box on the slate represents, and then we're gonna talk about kind of how to slate properly. So the first thing that you want to do when you slate is you want to make sure that the slate is the slate is fully readable when the camera starts to roll and in focus too. So this is something where we messed up the first time we used the slate, is we kind of just had it whenever. But if you've ever edited something with and then without a slate, you'll know how crucial this is. Basically, you want the first frame of every video clip to have all of this information for the editor, and this tells the editor what shot it was, how many takes it's been, because oftentimes there's a script supervisor on set and they write down the director liked the 5th take the best, and so the editor will kind of just hop right into the fifth take, so it saves them a lot of time on set. So for roll, this is the slate we used for a recent film. I study people for a living. One day left as of recording this.
Yes.
I think the last day is today by the time this episode goes up.
Yeah, it'll be
shooting
exactly
tonight.
Correct.
This was done by Nithin Kumar. Shout out Nithin.
Yes.
The
excellent filmmaker.
Pretty horrendous.
Oh, don't turn it around.
So the first one is roll. The word roll is just kind of like a relic from when you actually used film rolls. A more apt thing for this would be, I guess, memory?
Yeah, memory. Some kind of card of some sort. Yeah.
So this tells you the camera and the SD card that you are using. So for bigger sets, oftentimes this A will be changed to a B, C, even D. And then this 001 means this is the first card on the A cam. Oftentimes cameras will have upwards of depending on what they're shooting and their codec and everything, 5 or 6 cards. So you just want to know that, okay, this take is going to be on the 3rd memory card or whatever the device it's recording on, because the first 2 have already filled up. Let's go back to scene in a second, because we'll go after that with the thing. Take is pretty self-explanatory. You tick this up whenever you do a new take. and then the production, the name of the production, the name of the director, the name of the I think it's DP.
It's usually cinematographer.
Name of the DP. Then the dates, pretty self-explanatory. And then I'll tear these off.
Oh yeah, we gotta change that.
Poor Nathan.
Oh wait, hold on. That's actually important. Right there. Okay, so see how he taped over. Okay, so this is an important thing to know. A lot of people on here, give me a hand. So these are some details over here that we sort of, we were getting to, but yeah, the date, and then you have some information down here. It's gonna say interior, exterior, day.
I mean, you could just pull it off and show them.
Yeah. It'll say day, night, and then sync, and then MOS. Essentially, what you do is a lot of people, when they're starting out with a slate, they will take a marker and they'll just circle. If we're doing an outdoor shot, they're gonna like circle the exterior right here, but you don't do that. You don't tend to do that actually. So I just learned this today. What you do is you tape over the one you're not using.
Oh.
That way, when the person looking at the film slate on the editor, when you show this to the editor, they're gonna see, okay, I can see this, but I can't see the other one, so I know this is like an exterior thing. So you actually tape over what you're not using. You don't circle what you are using.
So you just read. Yeah, that's a day exterior with sync.
With audio, correct.
Interesting.
And we'll get over to sync and MOS in a little bit. But anyway, if you want to continue what you were saying.
And then, here's just basic information. What camera A, it kind of coincides with the roll. There's just another place it goes. FPS, frame rate, and then day, blah, blah. Yeah, so the options here, like Jake mentioned, are interior, exterior. I'll just pull these off.
Oh, yeah.
So we can show them. But you do tape over them. I learned this about 5 seconds ago.
Exactly.
So interior, exterior, obviously whether it's inside or outside, day or night, whether it's day or night, and then sync and MOS. Sync means that there is audio in the clip. Is it just sync? There is audio that needs to be synced, and MOS there is not?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, yeah. So with MOS, it's either like there's no audio, it's slow-mo, it's a insert shot, anything like that. And then oftentimes, we already showed the clap that's meant to sync audio. When there is no audio that needs to be synced, you can do a bunch of different things. You could just hold it like this. I've seen a lot of people put their hand through like this, and then what you mentioned, you could just go like this, right?
Yeah, you can just have it like wide open.
Just have it up.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff about MOS. I think it's very debated what it actually stands for. I've heard people say it stands for motion omitted sound.
Interesting.
Or motor over sync, maybe, or motor over sound. I don't know. It's something like that. Anyway, irrelevant to the grand story of the slate, but that's a little bit of a thing there if you're wondering why it says sync and then like MOS. Like what the fuck's MOS, But has some history there.
Yeah, and then in terms of who is supposed to be doing the slating?
The person who usually does the slate is going to be the second assistant camera. That on our film, we've had many people kind of have that moniker because it's sort of on like lower sets you're gonna have like kind of just anyone do it, but it tends to be a second assistant camera, second AC usually, and they're gonna be the one doing that. Also called the clapper loader, I believe, which sounds extremely sexual. They're like loading and clapping.
Loader.
Yeah.
I mean, loader. Is that okay? Yeah.
I think loaders are a separate thing as well. I think there's like another thing for that, right?
Yes. On bigger sets, yes. Oftentimes it is just the second AC.
Yeah.
So second AC is mainly responsible for the slate. Other opportunities, other job obligations, basically being just helping out the first AC on whatever the first AC needs help with. And we'll go into this on a different episode, like what roles people have on set, but just to summarize, the director of photography is the person basically in charge of all the visuals. They're oftentimes the camera operator if they don't have a dedicated camera operator, and then the first AC, also known as the focus puller, because that's their primary job, but they also are primarily in charge of building up the camera rig and also troubleshooting everything that comes with that. So the second AC just helps the first AC with anything the first AC needs, and also slates and is in charge of loading, which is basically just a fancy term for swapping SD cards.
Right.
Back when film was a thing, they would actually need some skill.
Right. And now it's simple. Now it's just simple. You just like open up a little door and then fucking pop out a thing and then put another thing in. So It's been very much simplified that job.
Now a PA can do it. Ugh,
Yeah.
gross.
Ew.
Right.
One of those.
Yeah.
What is a dummy or smart slate?
Sure. So this is a dummy slate because it's fucking stupid.
It's stupid.
Um,
it can't do anything.
Yeah. So a dummy slate. We went over this in the previous solo episode. A dummy slate you can get for $25 on Amazon. It is this. You write on it. A smart slate is intelligence. It has an IQ of over 160.
Exactly. It's a genius.
Basically, with a smart slate, instead of having all this written in marker, you can sync it up to an app and put in all the information on the app. It also has integrated time code, which is the biggest use for it. I believe someone left a comment on our other video. It's when you open the slates, then the time code starts rolling, and then when you when you open it, it like preps it. When you snap it, the time code stops. I don't know. It has integrated time code. Time code is metadata within the camera and the audio recorders that let them sync up in post very easily.
Exactly.
And they're also $1,000.
I was about to say, like, there is quite a big price jump there from the lower tier to the higher tier. So I mean, I think that's good. I think we're ready to move on to actually explaining, like, I guess the shot list and stuff like that too.
Yeah, so I can go over the shot list and you can say how to sleep. Probably.
And how to sleep. Okay, yeah.
So typically, we're going to talk about the scene here. The scene is written in a number letter format. So obviously it depends on how many scenes you have in the movie, but this is what we found works. There are definitely more ways to do it. What we do is we go through the script and we were talking about this. There isn't really a logical way to determine a new scene, right?
It can be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically it's like you do, okay, this is scene 1, and then you think of however many shots you need. The first shot in scene 1 is shot 1. The second shot in scene 1 is shot 1A. And then 1B, 1C, 1D, etc. So if your scene 1 goes up to 5 shots, that is up to 1D. I have seen people omit the shot 1 and the first shot of the scene being shot 1A. That is just an option. It doesn't really matter. Also, I don't think there's much standardization when it comes to films, when it comes to slates. Right? There is like a little bit, but like it also varies from region to region too.
Yeah, there's a whole UK system that's very much different from the US. It might be honestly simpler. I don't even know. It seems like they just use mostly numbers, and it kind of helps with the, I guess, simplicity of it. But yeah, no, there's no standardization at all. And then kind of going back to what Owen was saying about like where you kind of end a scene, that can be very difficult, and that also can vary from place to place, or just set to set even. A lot of stuff actually varies from set to set too. Just being on our set. If you're watching this and you have slated your sets, or you've slated some projects before, you're gonna be like, what the hell are they talking about? This is like not how I do it. So that's very real possibility. But also with a slate and just a shot list in general, and scenes as well, it's kind of hard to tell like where a scene can actually end, because like even if you change locations, you probably aren't gonna make it a new scene sometimes, but like usually you do. Like if we cut right here and we go outside, like that would be, I guess, maybe scene 2.
Yeah.
But like if we maybe walk over in the same shot, would that be scene 2? Maybe. But like, how do you write that on a shot list? So
yeah, I don't think it would be, because I think the easiest way is when there is a new slug line in the script, and slug line is the when it says interior or exterior period, or INT or EXT period, and then the location, and then a hyphen, and then day or night. So basically tells you when, and look, interior, exterior, day or night.
It's true.
It's when there's a new defined like header, basically. That's a pretty easy way to do it, but you could also like do it when you could also omit changing a scene when that shows up, and also change a scene when that doesn't show up. It's really kind of up in the air. It's literally whatever works best for you, your workflow, and your understanding. So let's say you're writing a shot list, and this scene has 26 shots. That would be shot 1 AD. The 26th shot is 1 AD.
But wait, there's only 26 letters in the alphabet. How's that possible?
You skip a handful of letters when you are naming shots. Mainly just ones that look like numbers.
Yeah.
You're supposed to skip I because it looks like a 1, O because it looks like a 0, S because if you have shitty handwriting like me, it looks like a 2, and Z because it can look like a 2 even if you have less shitty handwriting.
Yeah, I think S can look more like a 5 because like the lines kind of trace more like a 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5 and 2.
Yeah. I, O, S, and Z.
Yes. Z.
It's making a comeback, baby.
Yes.
Didn't you say something about skipping X?
I believe there are certain specialty ones like X. I think X can mean like this shot needs visual effects, and that could let the editor know that, and that might be useful. Again, we are an indie film indie filmmakers, and so we're not going to necessarily have to worry about that too much. But yeah, there's a handful of numbers you skip. Handful of letters you skip, and there's also not very much consistency with that as well. S and Z, people do skip those, but that's actually kind of like if you like look it up, like what do you skip on a slate? You usually will just see I and O and nothing else. Sometimes you'll see Y. I don't know why you see Y, but I guess maybe it could look like a 1 sometimes. If you don't make the like little arms big enough, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just skip some letters.
Yeah, and then what's the deal with AD? So basically, when you run out of, so it's 22. When you get to the, I think 23rd shot.
Yes.
Maybe 24th because of the whole 1 and then 1A thing.
Right.
When you get to that shot, you wrap around. So then it goes to AA, AB, AC, AD, AE, etc. And then if you get to whatever, like the 46th shot, that would be like 1 BA, 1 BB, 1 BC, 1 BD.
Yes.
If you have 46 shots, you are probably not working on an indie film, or you are shit at shot listing. So you probably don't even need to be watching this video.
Yes, you need a line producer to help you get your shots down, like Matthew Robinson.
Yes, episode 3 of IndieFilm Insider.
Yes, exactly. Just keep plugging ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you are just showing up to a set and slating, you don't have to worry about any of that. You only have to know, here's the shot list. Okay, got it. This shot we're doing, when you ask the DP or the first AD what shot we're doing, they'll tell you accordingly. So they'll be like, yeah, this is shot 5B. And so you write down 5B on the scene here. And then what do? After we are ready to roll and ready to do the thing.
You want me to explain that?
Yeah.
Well,
what is how do you actually slate?
So I wrote 4A here. So I wouldn't say though, scene 4A. You actually don't want to say the A at all. You want to say a more phonetic way of saying it, and that actually can be pretty useful. I've noticed that in because having edited and like some of my own films, I can see that like when I'm listening to the audio, it really does help because like sometimes it's quiet, sometimes there's other noise going on. So if someone's like 4A, I don't know, that could be like I don't even know, like 4J. If you know, it could be like I could easily confuse it with something else.
4K.
Yeah, exactly. So hearing 4 alpha or 4 apple, or there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. Some use the I believe it's the NATO phonetic alphabet, which is going to be the thing that is used in Battleship. So you have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, all those essentially, all the way to to the end. But the way you do it is you say scene 4 alpha. So the way you would do this is you would say scene 4 alpha, take 3 marker, and then you say marker right before you do this. That just essentially lets you know that you're marking it. You're like you're about to do the mark, because you don't want to do that and then fucking do a loud slap and scare everyone on set. And then there's a bunch of should I jump into the specialty ones right now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I think we can wait a second.
There are some exceptions. Also, earlier I wanted to mention this as well. Owen mentioned that you want the first frame of your footage to be the slate. There is one exception that we'll get into later.
Yes.
But stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So like I said, the way it would typically end up going is the first AC would call out directions to everyone on set and clarifying that everyone is rolling. So I believe it would go. They would say camera. The DP would confirm speeding.
Mm-hmm.
Sound or audio. The boom op would confirm speeding, and then the first AC would call. No wait, fuck. Yeah, sorry. Ignore everything. We should cut. Should we cut?
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I'll probably edit it. So
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, so typically how it works, if you actually want to slate, the first AD would call various things. So the first AD would say, get set. And so getting set is basically having the slate right in front of the camera, and so that the AC can pull focus to the slate. And then after that is set, the first AD will call camera, the DP would reply speeding, audio, and then the boom op would reply speeding or speed or whatever, and then they go slate, and then the second AC does the slate. Like I mentioned, you want to ensure that the first frame of the clip is all of the information on the slate.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, that's also, I believe that's called like roll call or calling the roll or something like that. That sort of like ritualistic way of like going down it. We on our sets, we don't really worry about that just because like we're so small and like there's not really like a formality to like, we don't like, we do have like a first AD who's like consistent usually with like, you know, being the same person, but our second AC kind of is more like a floater role.
Yeah.
Like there's not really that consistency there. I'm not saying that there is on like a bigger set too. I'm sure they swap out a few especially on like shows and stuff too. But in general, yeah, you do have like a sort of like roll call. There's an actual name for that, but I forget.
Yeah.
But
yeah, more often than not on our sets, it just kind of goes like, because I'm the DP on a lot of ours, and I just go, let's get slate, please, and then the second AC comes, I'm like, all right, we're good, rolling, and then we just go to the first AD will call sound speed and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know why it's called speeding?
Is it a film thing?
It is the same thing as why it's called rolling, essentially, because rolling is also like, you know, the same thing. It's called speeding because back in the day, when you hit the speed or when you hit the button on an audio recorder, it would take a second for the tape to get up to speed. So it would start slow and then slowly get up and up and up and up. And then once it was at the right speed, then you would say speeding.
Interesting.
That's why it's, oh, yeah, audio is at speed. And then turn it to audio speeds.
When did they stop using analog audio?
I don't know, but, you know.
Probably fairly recently?
Probably around this time.
Maybe like the 80s?
Probably before digital. Well, wait, I don't know, because even like, I mean, cassettes and stuff. I don't know. It could be like 90s.
A talk for 2000s. Another day.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that is basically how you slate. There are a couple of special callouts. The first one is soft 6. That is pretty self-explanatory. You would use it when you are close to an actor and you either don't want to like slam it in their face while they're in character, or just
snap them out of character.
Yeah, or just as a courtesy thing.
Right.
And then you would call soft sticks. So you would go, scene 4 alpha, take 1, shot sticks. Fuck. You would go, scene 4 alpha, take 3 soft sticks, and then just a little plop.
Marker,
yeah.
Yeah. But no, yeah, exactly. You don't want to, you know, get in the face of your actor and piss them off. We actually had I believe this is the first time we've used soft sticks. At least
it's the first, yeah.
Like at least calling it in the way we do. We've had a few scenes where it's like pretty tight, and you know we have like a big close up of the actor's face, and sometimes there's rarely a spot where like you can't really get the slate like right in front of them. So, yeah, exactly. It's a courtesy thing. It helps them with staying in character, and if you have like a emotional scene, and then also like real quick touching back onto like, you know, how you say like 4 alpha instead of 4A, you can also like, you can use any other word that you want that has like a, you know, and any other A word. You just don't want to like abuse that. You don't want to like make it like funny when it's not supposed to be funny. Like if you're doing like a really emotional scene where the actor has to like get into like a really dark or sad headspace, you don't want to like, you know, go like 4 ass or something like that, you know, like
scene 7 genitalia.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a time and place for that for sure, but you also don't want to be too distracting in any case. Even if you're on a comedy, like you're not supposed to be funny. You're just like clapping a thing, you know. Like,
yeah.
Like you're not the comedian of the day. So it's a little bit on that as well. So that would be soft sticks. There's also another one that has a very similar name. It's called second sticks. Essentially, if you are, you know, getting a slate and for some reason I'm like, oh, 4 alpha, blah, 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 and then I'm like, oh, sorry, second stick, or sorry, then you would do, you know, if I messed up, I would say 4 alpha, take 3 second sticks marker, and then you go boom. And that basically just signifies that that's the second time you're slating within the same like shot. And that is good. That happens for a lot of reasons. Actually, the most recent on our current film, I study people for a living. There was a time where the second AC was trying to do soft sticks, and they went way too soft, and you couldn't actually hear the and so we had to do that again, and so they had to say, scene 4 alpha, take 3. Second sticks, soft sticks marker, and then do it. And I was like, oh, okay, that person's like on top of it, because that's like a mouthful. And so that is the second of the secondary.
Yes.
Anything else on second sticks?
Nope.
Yeah.
It's when you're sticking a second time.
Also, you can also anyone, the director or like the DP or sort of like any like of the higher up people can also call that. If the second AC like does it and they like maybe, because there's also times where like maybe you're doing it and maybe like you drop the slate out of frame and you can't tell. You might go like, oh, seconds or marker, and then do that, and then you have no idea that you didn't do it right, and so then the person behind the camera, cam op, or the director, anyone can kind of be like, oh, can we get second sticks?
Yeah.
So that's another time for it as well.
Yeah. And then the last specialty one we have is tail slating. That would be literally just slating at the end, right?
Yeah, that's the exception we were talking about, where you're not going to have it in the first frame.
Yeah.
What are some reasons for that?
And there are a lot of different reasons. The main one being maybe the shot is too tight to get sticks in there, for example. One would be like if you're using a macro lens really up close to somebody. And you have like this much space in between the barrel of the lens and the subject, you can't fit the sticks with all the information in there.
Yeah.
Another one would be, this happens to us pretty often. It's just like, most often it's just you get set up for the shot and then you realize, oh shit, there's not really a practical way to get sticks in here right now. So.
Like being in a car.
Yeah, like being in a car. We were in a car before, and like it's like, okay, I got this shot set up, because if we had sticks before, they would have to like open the door, put the sticks in, and like that, and we were also running low on time, so it was just a hassle. I think the most common reason is you're not able to get everything in frame after the DP set up the frame.
And if you're a second AC, you're gonna want to make sure you remind them that you're getting a tail slate, so as soon as they call cut, be like, oh, tail slate. That way they're like aware, like, oh shit, yeah, I gotta get a tail slate, and then you do all the same thing, tail slate marker, boom, and then that's good.
Yeah, so
don't let them forget.
Yes, it would just be the same thing. It would be 4 alpha, take 3 tail slate marker.
Yeah, and then you flip the slate.
Okay, so this is when you do this.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remembered the slate was upside down at some point.
Yeah.
But I forgot what so it is for tail slate. So you do this.
You just click it and then you just go upside down.
Oh. You go
or maybe you can start upside down too. Like you start like when you put it in frame, maybe like that, and then you go like that, and then you do all the thing.
I don't know.
I don't actually know. And maybe it's kind of confusing because like that was our martini shot, which if you don't know what martini shot means, you can check out the previous episode.
Nope.
Two episodes ago, 31 plus film slang you did not know.
Yes.
Or you need to know.
Yes.
And you'll learn all about martini shots and Abby Singer shots and whatnot. But yes, I believe. I don't know if that's for martini shot or not. I think that's. I think it's for tail sliding. I think for tail sliding you do flip it upside down. If I'm wrong, then anyone watching, Ed, you can let me know.
Destroy him.
Yes.
Annihilate him in the comments. I think that's it, right?
I believe that is it in terms of slating.
Yeah, it looks like it. So obviously this was a pretty brief overview, but if you skipped right here, all you need to know is this. Read out the scene or the shot number, say it phonetically, say marker, and then slate. Shot 4 alpha, take 3 marker.
Precisely.
Easy.
Very useful tool, and you're going to want to use it. Also, if you don't, it is 20, like, $20-$25, whatever. If you can't, and it's also complicated to use. If you really don't need to, you can just do the classic sync clap. Works exactly the same way.
Yeah, but the first film that we used it on was January 2024, and we noticed that editing was so much easier with the Slate. It is so convenient to know exactly the audio that matches up to the video, and also have a very clear indication on what shot is what, so you can go back to the shot list, be like, the next shot needs to be shot description. Oh, that was shot 7C. And then you can immediately go to the first frame. Oh, 7C. If the script supervisor left notes, 7C, 7C. Oh, the director liked the fourth take the best. So you can just immediately drag that in and save so much time on editing. The Slate is obviously the most important when someone else is editing your film as well.
Yeah, honestly, like a huge underrated thing too is like just upgrading the way you do stuff on set can be like a huge help. Like I know there's like people wanting to invest money here and here and here, but like just doing like stuff like this to make it faster, like that helps a lot too.
Yeah. Also, if you are doing any commercial shoots or client shoots, and you pull up with a slate and you're having somebody slate everything, they're like, wow, this was worth way more than the map box.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the equivalent of map box.
That's true.
Because
like someone, everyone has seen a film slate, which is kind of weird because like it is sort of like not like a niche tool, but like I don't know if
only something like filmmakers would know about.
I at least know like what it does. Like when I was like a kid, I knew what it was. I've seen it everywhere, but like I didn't know like why the hell you would use it. I was like, oh, that's the thing. It's like it claps or makes a loud noise. I don't know. I didn't really. It's an iconic symbol of film, but not many people know what it does.
It is, yeah. And with that being said, thank you for tuning into this episode of IndieFilm Insider. You can find me on Instagram at owencar.dp. Where can they find you?
I'm at Jake Rossbell. My name is Jake Rossbell, so easy to find.
Perfect. And if you want to check out the previous episode we did, we interviewed the main actor in our previous film, I'll See You Again. We'll link that film in the description below, and you can watch his interview. It was a great podcast right here.
Indeed. And if you want to check out our latest film that just came out onto the Orange Juice Media YouTube channel, it's called Death Knows My Name, and you can find it also in the link below.
Awesome.
Great. Cut there.
And cut.
And cut. And then tail slate.